My video for October the 19th, 2018, video number 2880, is entitled Freedom of Speech Still Applies. I received an interesting article by Judge Napolitano on LouRockwell.com in reference to Stormy Daniels' claim against Donald Trump. The judge wrote, quote, "The litigation brought by Stormy Daniels against Donald Trump has had its day of reckoning. The adult film star who sued the president for defamation not only lost a portion of her lawsuit, but was ordered to pay the president's legal bills. All this was a resounding victory for the freedom of speech," end quote. He continued, quote, "James Madison, who drafted the Bill of Rights, was careful to refer to speech as the freedom of speech, so as to underscore the framers' unambiguous belief that free speech is pre-political. Stated differently, it existed before the government, and thus did not come from the government. As it does not originate in the government, Madison and Company believed it originates in our humanity," end quote. I ask, do humans still have natural rights that come from our Creator or not? Of course, this could come down to arguments as to who and what our Creator actually is. I'm not sure anymore, as I question so much of what I was taught. I was, however, pleased with this pronouncement. Hopefully, it is a small step in the right direction, upholding natural human rights guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. I'm going to actually go over to Lou Rockwell. I've got it open on the computer that sits next to the one that I'm recording on. And I'm going to read some more of Lou Rockwell's material about this. The failure of the courts to protect Trump's right to challenge his accuser's veracity in public, or the use of the court's attempt to intimidate Trump from proffering that challenge by making him pay for it, would have constituted an infringement by the government of Trump's free speech rights, sending a signal that there was no legal basis to claim that con job in reply to adulterer was defamatory and unwilling to be the instrument through which speech, even the rough and tumble variety Trump often employs, could be punished, deterred, or infringed upon by the government. The court found Daniels' defamation claim to be frivolous. She and her lawyers ought to have known the defamation claim would not prevail, and thus she or they, at this writing, it is unclear who, were ordered to pay the legal bills Trump incurred for defending his defamation claim. The United States has a long and storied history with the freedom of speech. The same generation that ratified the First Amendment, in some cases the same human beings, also enacted the Alien and Sedition Acts, which prohibited speech defamatory of the government. Thomas Jefferson pardoned all who were convicted under this dreadful and unconstitutional law, including a member of Congress. Yet Abraham Lincoln, Woodrow Wilson, and Franklin Roosevelt all punished dissenters for the anti-war speech they uttered in wartime, and they got away with punishing them. But in a unanimous decision in 1969 involving hateful words uttered by a Ku Klux Klansman, the Supreme Court has held that all innocuous speech is absolutely protected from government interference, and that all speech is innocuous when there is time for more speech to challenge or rebut it. This has led to our robust modern jurisprudence, which declares that individuals decide for themselves what to say and hear. The government does not decide for us. I appreciate Judge Napolitano, and I certainly appreciate this and other comments he has made over the years. I consider him a person of reason and reasoned reasoning. It really makes sense to me what he is saying here, and I wish we could stop the liberals. And yes, I'm speaking as a conservative now. On some things I am conservative, on other things I am liberal. But in this case, I am conservative. I do not believe the government can act with impunity against human beings. I do believe we have God-given rights. Now, who is God? See, that's the question. I've come to the place where I recognize that the God of the Bible is a multiplicity of created beings, not the original creator at all. And they are the ones that said, let us make man in our image. So what are human rights? Did they pre-exist this second creation, this creation by what I consider fallen angels? I mean, demons. I don't know. There's a lot of things that we have to wrestle with as human beings. And this is the time when all of these things are coming into the forefront, as it were, so that we have the opportunity to look at them freshly and to reevaluate who we are and what our role is in world affairs. There is a lot of things, there are a lot of things happening that indicate an awakening, at least from my perspective. And I am grateful for that. And yet there is a huge attempt by other individuals to undermine human rights and to say we only have the right to do what the government wants us to do, and say what the government wants us to say, and think what the government wants us to think. I like the idea of freedom. I think it is foundational to who we are as human beings. And we need to rise up against all of those who would take our natural rights away from us. We as human beings need to be willing to speak out and stand up for the truth that we have individual rights. That's a truth. We have the right to express ourselves. We have the right to choose whom we can relate to and how we choose to relate to them, so long as it's not children. I don't believe we have the right to abuse children. And the elite have a long history of abusing children. And it's heinous what is done in secret by those who claim to have some kind of royal lineage or special rights or special privileges. You know, it's crazy. We are all equal under God as I see it. But whatever you want to say God is, that's a debatable question. Because obviously, to me, the God of the Bible is not a relevant being. It is somebody that is insane. That jealous God, that's ridiculous. How could an omnipotent, omniscient God be jealous of anything? It just doesn't make sense. But I am applauding this decision by the court that Judge Napolitano pointed out. And I'd like to see freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, and all of these freedoms exercised around the world for the liberation of humanity and lifting us out of the poverty and the impoverishment of this control grid that we have been unfortunately subjected to all of our lives. I want freedom for everybody. Thank you for listening, and namaste.